So you have a regular mojo type, kind of average looking person. Doesn't look like they dress very well, and you meet them, and they seem like they're super nice, and you kind of feel sorry for them in a way. They're not super attractive, or doesn't look like they even super care about themselves, how they look. And so you just kind of fall in, and they tell you about things that maybe that happened to them, and it looks like, oh, how sad, maybe I could help this person. You have just met the covert vulnerable narcissist. The covert vulnerable narcissist is very subtle. They are not out like a grandiose narcissist. They're not boisterous. They don't seem to brag much, because they hide it. So they tend to be shy, and it looks like they approach things with humility, and they play the victim all the time. And so they are really sensitive to criticism, extremely, and they sulk. If you give them even the slightest criticism, like maybe you should do this instead of that way, maybe that would be better, they are extremely, because they do think they're superior to everybody else around them. They're very hard to detect. So a lot of people that are still thinking, was I with a narcissist? Or because they don't match up with everything. They didn't do all those things. It didn't seem like it, but I know this person was abusive. So what were they? Well, you might have met that covert narcissist. So they have smugness, and they do criticize, and they judge others extremely, and that includes you. So, everything that you've done in the past, they're judging. Everything that you're doing now, they're judging. Everything that you're even going to do in the future, they've already judged it. And they will tell you what you're like, and this is the way you are, even though it's something that isn't even like you at all, not even in your personality structure. Um, they do avoid everything that threatens their superiority. So that's the difference. Like where a grandiose narcissist will come out and just blatantly, I'm superior and you better expect it and blah, 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 and they're very boisterous about it. The covert narcissist will simply walk away, kind of shrug their shoulders like, well, you don't get me. You don't understand me. So I know I'm superior and I know more than you. They tend not to be proud of people. So they won't enjoy an achievement that you've had or their children have or anything like that. They will simply be like, well, I could do better. I've done better. They play the victim on everything but they blame other people as well. So they may have lost their job, and they'll come back and, I don't know, I lost my job and it's not even my fault. The coworker or the boss, it's their fault. I didn't have anything to do with that project, or whatever their excuse is. But in the meantime, if you really looked at it, maybe if they showed up to work, they wouldn't have got fired. But if you don't know that, you tend to go and comfort them and do whatever you can for them. And that's how they get their supply. So their supply is basically for that. That's why they play the victim, because now you're coming in and you're emotionally giving them supply. They have cognitive empathy. So that's where it gets really confusing, because if something happens to you, it seems like they empathize with you. So even if you're maybe you had somebody pass away, or somebody's in the hospital or something like that, they will fake empathy. And what it is, cognitive empathy, is when it's intelligent. They know the right things to do. It's an act, but they know that if they do this, they will actually look good. So they go ahead and do this cognitive empathy, and they'll actually call you, or maybe show up, but they tend not to go to the funeral or actually go to the hospital. They only take it too far to where you're thinking, well, they were comforting, and they are, but they don't really follow through with the whole thing. So they tend to roll their eyes a lot when they're talking to people, and they don't bother talking to people that are underneath them. So if they don't think that you have the intelligence that they do, they won't bother talking to you. They just kind of roll their eyes. They might put up with you, but that's about it. They put themselves down for supply. So they will actually sit there and say, well, what do I know? I'm not very smart, or I'm not very pretty, or I'm ugly, or they just put themselves down, or they'll tell you I'm an asshole or whatever. And so they get that for supply because you're sitting there going, no, because we're empaths. No, you're not. You're not like that. What are you talking about? You're really smart. You're not bad looking. And they get supply from that. So the way they get supply is a little different than the grandiose narcissist. So they tend to be very passive aggressive as well, and they do backhanded comments. They're very smart assy and that type of thing. They're not real nice people really once you get involved with them. So they do a lot of that passive aggressiveness. They love silent treatments. They love it. And then they'll act like they never really did it. You know what? I was just reading a book. I wasn't really paying attention. But they're really actually giving you a silent treatment. It can be days. Or I heard one time this narcissist gave her a silent treatment for a year. And I'm thinking about that like, wow, that's a long time. Like, whoa. How would that person even know what was going on? I mean, I don't understand. But anyway, I heard that one time and I just thought, whoa. So they're very self-serving. And so they're self-serving. So what they'll do is they actually do help people for the kudos, and it makes them look good. Their whole ambiance around them is how they look to the outside world. Not so much on the inside, but on the outside. So they may go help somebody or fix something, or maybe, help them out to the grocery store or help them do banking or whatever. And it's just to look good on the outside world. And if they don't get that kudos from the outside world, then they'll stop doing it. They completely just stop, and you'll find yourself that they won't help you anymore. A lot of times they don't follow through anyway. So they just want the kudos, and that's how they get their supply. It's not like they want their supply like a normal narcissist, like they tend to get people for the same reasons, to make them look good, or status or finances or anything like that, and they totally will extort them. But with the covert, it's so sneaky, they're really hard to detect. So if you meet somebody that seems too kind, has kind of a weepy, feel to it, kind of a victimhood, tends to be shy, just really, putting themselves down. They've had a lot of, things happen to them that wasn't their fault. You need to look twice at these people. The covert, vulnerable, passive aggressive narcissist. Well, thanks for watching the video till the end. Please check out our store, TN Healing. It comes with anointing oils, everything for self-care, and soaps, and it's all natural and herbal. We have teas, we have incense, candles, and there's more stuff coming all the time. So please check that out and like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.